Welcome to the show. It's the UFC Magician. Today we're back at it again with Alex Pereira versus Procházka 2. We're going over straight picks, predictions, and parlays only, no explanations. Trying to keep this short and brief as possible. Explanations are shared in the Discord as always. And remember, if you haven't hopped on the train yet, it's not too late. Because listen, we are calling out the dogs left and right. Last week, start off the card, we had the little Asian boy, couldn't even pronounce his name, Cheng Hu Lee. Dog, my man cashed. We had Alexander Volkov against Sergey Pavlovich, huge dog, to end off the card. We took Robert Whittaker against Ikram Aliskerov, and guess what? Cashed in the first minute of the fight. Bang! We're going to continue this hot streak, and we're going to keep it nice. So let me tell you guys, to start off the card, we're going to do it again. It's a risky pick, but nah, I have a lot of faith in this man right here. Vinicius Oliveira versus Ricky Simone. I'm going to go with the plus 200 to start the night off in Vinicius Oliveira. Listen, last time I took Bernardo Sopaj against this guy hit the knockout of the century on the top of my head. And I can't let that happen again. I don't care how good of a wrestler Ricky Simone is. This guy popped off on his debut, and I'm going to keep on going. So for the first fight of the night, I'm going to go with Oliveira, plus 200. Next off, Jillian Robertson versus Michelle Waterson Gomez. Listen, I think this card can either go one way, which could be almost every single favorite down the line, or it can be a very shaky card. I'm going to go with the shaky card. Second fight of the night, we're taking Jillian Robertson. I honestly wouldn't touch a prop. If you do sprinkle a prop, I would sprinkle on Jillian Robertson by submission. But if she wins this fight, I definitely do see her winning it by decision. But she is definitely alive for that submission prop. Jillian Robertson for the second fight of the night. Let's do it. Martin Buday versus Andrei Arlovsky. This guy is 45 years old in the UFC. He's on the NBA. He's on the PGA. This guy's in the UFC at 45 years old. Automatic fade. We're going to go with Martin Buday. I don't know about the knockout props here. Even though that is very alive, Andrei Arlovsky usually likes to just manage his distance and run away around the cage. But Martin Buday definitely has the power to put him out. These heavyweights are huge. I'm going to side with Martin Buday here. On to the next. Ray Tsuruya versus Carlos Hernandez. This guy Ray's making his UFC debut. I'm going to take him because I've never liked this guy Carlos Hernandez ever. And realistically, I feel like a lot of guys might be betting on the finish for this guy on Carlos Hernandez. So maybe the decision prop could be a nice little trap. But this guy Ray has been subbing people. Next fight, knockout, sub, knockout, sub, knockout, sub. So his last fight he got a knockout, so maybe he gets a sub. You never know. This guy, the second he takes you down, it's almost over. And he could definitely finish a guy in Carlos Hernandez. So we're going to side with the Ray Tsuruya. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Now, on to the prelims. But before we do that, I normally cook on these early prelims, or I don't. But a little early prelims parlay, I'm going to go with Vinicius and Jillian Robertson as a two-teamer. And then this is super, super risky. I hate doing this. If you guys have big testicles, I would put Oliveira and Tsuruya in another two-team parlay for the early prelims. But something a little more safe would be Jillian Robertson and Ray Tsuruya for the little two-teamers to start the night off. If you guys want to sprinkle Martin Buday and make it a three-teamer, I like that as well. Now, on to the prelims. Ooh. Paying tableau minus 1,600. Probably at minus like a 2,000 on betting apps. So we're probably going to skip this fight. This guy can finish him on the ground standing up. Unless this guy survives and makes a decision, this fight can end in 3 different ways. no matter what. I don't see Payne Talbot losing, so we're just going to go to the next fight. Another dog incoming. Charles Jourdain versus Gene Silva. I'm going to ride with Gene Silva. He's at plus 100 right now. Opened up around minus 110. Charles Jourdain is probably one of the most inconsistent guys, not in the UFC, but he definitely has his moments, and he definitely does not have his moments. And a guy like Gene Silva, who carries and possesses tons of power, I'm going to side in the knockout prop and in Gene Silva in this fight at plus 100. Catch his knockout props. I'll check it out for you guys right here. Oh, no, I can't even do that. Sorry, we're on ESPN. But Gene Silva by knockout, I like that prop. Probably will be around plus 275 or plus 300. Sprinkle it in the first round. That's where he comes out hot. Besides that, I like Gene Silva to get it done here. Not saying he's a lock, not telling you to slam him, but I do like Gene Silva to get it done. Andre Philly versus Cub Swanson. I'm going to side with Andre Philly over here. Cub Swanson, another one of these old guys. He's 40 years old. Andre Philly coming off a few great performances. Cub Swanson, I think his time is done in the UFC. He's been here for a while, as you can tell from his record. Andre Philly, younger guy, fresher guy, way faster on the feet. If he takes him down, maybe he could finish him. Cubs normally likes to stand up. He's a boxer. But no way Philly loses this. Well, no way I see Philly losing this fight. I'm going to side with Andre Philly here. To cap off the main card, Joe Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. Something was kind of telling me to sprinkle on Marc-Andre, thinking he's alive here. But Joe Pyfer just came off a loss. Last week, Sergey Pavlovich came off a loss. Ended up losing again against Volkov, which we predicted. I don't think that's going to happen again, though, this week. Marc-Andre normally likes to stand and bang, but he's not a bad fighter at all. That's why I was really, really thinking about sprinkling on him. But Joe Pyfer just keeps on getting better and better, and I think he went through a good loss, didn't get finished. So I'm going to take Joe Pyfer here, and that knockout prop is definitely alive. So Joe Pyfer at minus 300, pretty heavy favorite, but I like it to cash. Now, on to the main card, which is pretty stacked. To start off the main card, Michael Page versus Ian Machado Gary. I like Michael Page here. It's a 50-50 fight. You can't go bad with either one of these guys. Any fighter is a good pick. But Michael Page is very sneaky and very fast, and a lot faster than he looks on camera. And so is Ian Gary. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be siding with Ian Gary on this one. But I like the odds here with Michael Page. I like his experience as well. And it's going to be a great fight. Just whoever you want to side with, you side with. But in my opinion, I think Michael Page gets it done. On to the next. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson. I really wanted to pass this fight, but realistically, if you're going to take someone, if I would take someone, I'd go with Macy Chiasson. I like her reach advantage here. Longer fighter, taller fighter by a lot. And honestly, I normally hate women's MMA just because they're way too shaky and unpredictable. But if I were to side with someone here, I'm going to go with Macy Chiasson. Solid parlay piece at the line you'll get her at, but it's women's MMA. You know how that turns out at the end of the day. Now, last three fights, we have Anthony Smith against Roman Dolidze. I'm going to go with Roman Dolidze here at minus 140, and I will sprinkle his KO prop, possibly rounds 1 or 2. Anthony is very hard to put away, but I definitely like the KO prop over here by Roman Dolidze. And yeah, we're not going to get too deep into these fights. Just going to sprinkle out some picks and parlays. I'm going to give a little prelim parlay after I go through this. Now, with the co-main event, I think he's the lock of the night. I'm calling it right now. The lock of the night in Diego Lopez. Minus 140 against Brian Ortega. Another great fight for the fans. For the bettors, though, Diego Lopez is the way to go. Brian Ortega, again, another huge favorite, so he'll probably have a lot of people throwing money on him from that side. But outside of all of that, Diego Lopez is up and coming, and I think his time is soon. And I love everything about him. He has that hype. He has a good personality, great work ethic, great on the ground, great standing up. Brian Ortega obviously has a lot of time in the UFC. You guys know everything about him. But for the ones that don't know about Diego Lopez yet, I think this will be the fight that really shoots him up those rankings. Now, heading into the co-main event, we have, main event, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Procházka. I almost didn't want to touch this fight, and I think a lot of people are like very, very split between this one. Realistically, if I'm putting my money somewhere, I'm going to say it again. It's going on Alex Pereira. Even though I love Jiri, he was one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. But if my money's going on someone, when that arrow just comes out, I like when my money's on there. So I'm going to go with Alex Pereira to get the KO again. Back-to-back KOs for the Brazilian. Now let's go over some quick little parlays. All right, we're going to go from the bottom. We're going to go with the first leg in Martin Boudet from the early prelims. Second leg of the parlay from the prelims, we're going to put Joe Pyfer on there. And Gene Silva. A little risky. I like taking risks, though. From the main card on the parlay, we're going to put Roman Dolidze and Diego Lopez. So you have 1, 2 legs right there in Diego Lopez and Roman Dolidze. Another leg in Joe Pyfer, that's 3. Another leg in John Silva, make that 4. And Martin Boudet from the early prelims. A nice little 5-team parlay. Another safe 2-teamer. From the main card, we are going to take Roman Dolidze again. Pair him up with Diego Lopez. Now, you guys don't need to take every single one of these plays, but I highly recommend it for the ones that like to have fun. So, 2-teamer right there in Roman Dolidze and Diego Lopez. And now, we're going to put a nice little fun parlay just for the entertainment. We're going to put Michael Page in there. We're going to put Jillian Robertson in there. And Vinicius Oliveira. Another 3-team banging machine. Now, if you guys want any more picks, drop them in the comments. Let me know. You can join the Discord if you have any questions. Let me know who you guys like. I hope you guys enjoyed these picks. And I hope we keep the hype and the heat rolling. Because we are hot. And I do not plan on cooling down. Even though I could freeze up when we go 0 for 10, you know we're not doing that anymore. So let's go. UFC Magician, hope you enjoyed the show. See you guys next week.